MPs for constituencies in Northern Ireland, MPs for constituencies in Scotland, MPs for constituencies in England, Leader of the House, Shadow Leader of the House, House of Commons, Chamber, Portcullis House, House of Commons, Library. The House of Commons is the lower house and de facto primary chamber of the Parliament of the United Kingdom. Like the upper house, the House of Lords, it meets in the Palace of Westminster. The Commons is an elected body consisting of 650 members known as Members of Parliament. MPs are elected to represent constituencies by the first-past-the-post system and hold their seats until Parliament is dissolved. The House of Commons of England started to evolve in the 13th and 14th centuries. It became the House of Commons of Great Britain after the political union with Scotland in 1707, and assumed the title of House of Commons of Great Britain and Ireland after the political union with Ireland at the start of the 19th century. The United Kingdom, referred to was the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland from 1800, and became the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland after the independence of the Irish Free State in 1922. Accordingly, the House of Commons assumed its current title under the Parliament Acts 1911 and 1949. The Lords' power to reject legislation was reduced to a delaying power. The government is solely responsible to the House of Commons and the Prime Minister stays in office only as long as they retain the confidence of a majority of the Commons. Although the House of Commons does not formally elect the Prime Minister, by convention and in practice, the Prime Minister is answerable to the House, and therefore must maintain its support. In this way, the position of the parties in the House is of overriding importance. Thus, whenever the office of Prime Minister falls vacant, the monarch appoints the person who has the support of the House, or who is most likely to command the support of the House, normally the leader of the largest party in the House, while the leader of the second largest party becomes the leader of the opposition. Since 1963, by convention, the Prime Minister has always been a member of the House of Commons, rather than the House of Lords. The Commons may indicate its lack of support for the government by rejecting a motion of confidence, or by passing a motion of no confidence. Confidence and no confidence motions are phrased explicitly. For instance, that this House has no confidence in Her Majesty's government. Many other motions were until recent decades considered confidence issues, even though not explicitly phrased as such. In particular, important bills that were part of the government's agenda, the annual budget, is still considered a matter of confidence. When a government has lost the confidence of the House of Commons, the Prime Minister is obliged either to resign, making way for another MP who can command confidence, or to request the monarch to dissolve Parliament, thereby precipitating a general election. Before 2011, Parliament sat for anything up to 5 years. This was a maximum. The Prime Minister could, and often did, choose an earlier time to dissolve Parliament, with the permission of the monarch. Since the Fixed Term Parliaments Act 2011, the term has been fixed at 5 years. However, an early general election can be brought about by the second of these mechanisms. The UK's government can change its political composition without an intervening general election. As at the 31st of October 2019, 4 of the 9 last Prime Ministers have attained office as the immediate result of a general election. The others have gained office upon the resignation of a prime minister of their own party. A prime minister will resign after party defeat at an election if unable to form a coalition or obtain a confidence in supply arrangement. He or she may also resign after a motion of no confidence in the prime minister or for personal reasons. In such cases, the premiership goes to whoever can command a majority in the House. Unless there is a hung parliament and a coalition is formed, the new prime minister will by convention be the new leader of the resigner's party. It has become the practice to write the constitutions of major UK political parties to provide a set way to appoint a new party leader. By convention, ministers are members of either the House of Commons or the House of Lords. A handful have been appointed from outside Parliament, but in most cases they then entered Parliament in a by-election or by receiving a peerage. Since 1902, all Prime Ministers have been members of the Commons. The sole exception was during the long summer recess in 1963. The 14th Earl of Home disclaimed his peerage 3 days after becoming Prime Minister, and became Sir Alec Douglas Home. The new session of Parliament was delayed to await the outcome of his by-election, which happened to be already underway due to a recent death. As antecedent,